I'll start with, oh, there I am. Whoa. I'll start with a few announcements. This Wednesday, the 29th, is Lunch in the Garden at noon. Everybody's invited. We're accepting donations for the rummage sale now, which will be October 15th and 16th. And we're accepting donations for Mutual Aid Initiative Network, non-perishable food, personal items, personal care items, dog and cat food, and baby items. And the box is in the parish hall. Thank you. Welcome to the worship service of the First Unitarian Church of Hobart, Indiana. My name is Barb Lango, and I participate in the church by serving on the board and am a member of the Membership Caring Committee and FIA. We are a religious community of people with diverse beliefs and shared values. Our diverse beliefs are expressed in our 6 sources, and our shared values are expressed in our 7 principles, both of which can be found online at uua.org. Together, we strive to grow spiritually, build community, and live our values in the world. We are currently in search for a full-time minister. When we do not, I can't catch my breath. When we do not, lost my place. When we do not have a minister in the pulpit, we invite members or guests to share a special message with us. This is one such Sunday. We are fortunate enough to hear from Karen Livengood today from the Membership Caring Committee. We are currently streaming our services online. The joys and sorrows portion of our service is, however, private, and we will take a break from streaming during that part of the service. The sermon portion of the service will be recorded and will be available for future viewing on Facebook, YouTube, and the church website. Let your Facebook and Twitter friends know that you are attending worship with hashtag First Unitarian of Hobart. Due to the increase in COVID-19 cases and the more infectious Delta variant, we ask that all in-person attendees of the services wear a mask covering both nose and mouth. You can either bring a mask or we will provide one. We thank you for your consideration of our community's health and safety. Now take a deep breath and join us in the spirit of reverence. Can catch my breath. Thank you, Jeremy. The opening words are from William F. Schultz. This is the message of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not be divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the world in our hands. Now the lighting of the chalice.
there it is. Good morning, and please join me for the lighting of the chalice. The words are on the laminated paper at your seats. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Jeremy's going to play it through for us once, and then it sometimes sung is around, but I think that would be a little difficult today. So we're going to sing it. We're going to sing the song after he plays it once through. We're going to sing it 3 times. Okay, it's very short, so we'll sing it 3 times.
Please stand everyone.
Please remain standing and join me now in our affirmation of faith. The words are printed on the laminated handouts in the pews. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament. Service is its prayer. And this is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the love, and to help one another. We are striving to create a worship space which is both spiritual and safe. However, we recognize that not everyone can attend in person. We extend a special welcome to everyone who is joining us virtually today. Thank you for our tech team for making the live streaming and recording possible. Due to the increase in COVID-19 cases and the more infectious Delta variant, the Greet Your Neighbor portion of the service will be contactless. Please take a moment to greet your neighbor by greet your neighbor by waving your hands and letting your smile reach past your mask to your eyes. Love may be seated. Now it's time for the children's story. Heather has two mommies. If anybody would like to join me here, I'm going to sit down and hope I can get up.
Beautiful dress, just beautiful.
Heather lives in a little house with a big apple tree in the front yard and lots of tall grass in the backyard. Heather's favorite number is 2. She has 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, and 2 feet. Heather has 2 pets, a ginger-colored cat named Ginger Snap, and a big black dog named Midnight. Heather also has 2 mommies, Mama Jane and Mama Kate. Mama Kate is a doctor. She has 2 stethoscopes so she and Heather can listen to each other's heartbeats. Mama Jane is a carpenter. She has 2 hammers so she and Heather can build things together. Heather and her mommies have lots of fun together. On sunny days, they go to the park. On rainy days, they stay inside and bake cookies. Heather likes to eat 2 ginger snaps and drink a big glass of milk. One day, Mama Kate and Mama Jane tell Heather that they have a surprise for her. You're going to start school next week. There'll be a lot of other kids to play with and a teacher named Mrs. Molly. Can Midnight and Ginger Snap come too? Asked Heather. No, they have to stay home. But you can bring 2 special things with you. Heather chooses her favorite blue blanket to rest for nap time and her favorite red cup to drink out of at snack time. Soon the big day arrives, and Mama Kate and Mama Jane take Heather to her new school. There are so many things to play with. Heather sees building blocks, dress-up clothes, crayons, and paint. Heather also sees big round table for snack time and a cozy, quiet corner for nap time. While Mama Jane and Mama Kate talk to Miss Molly, Heather puts 2 puzzles together all by herself. Soon it's time for Mama Jane and Mama Kate to leave. They kiss Heather goodbye and Heather cries, but only a little. After nap time, all the children sit in a circle while Miss Molly reads them a story about a boy whose father is a veterinarian. Who knows what a veterinarian is? Asked Miss Molly. I do. My mommy is a veterinarian, Juan says, and veterinarian is an animal doctor. My daddy is a people doctor, shouts David. My mommy is a people doctor too, Heather shouts. What does your daddy do? David asks Heather. I don't have a daddy, Heather says. She looks around the circle and wonders, am I the only one who doesn't have a daddy? I have an idea, Miss Molly says. Let's all draw pictures of our families. Whoops, almost forgot. Juan draws his mommy, daddy, and his big brother Carlos. Miriam draws her mommy and her sister Rachel playing in the park. Stacy draws her daddy and her papa reading her stories. Joshua hangs up the picture he drew of his mommy and stepfather dropping him off at his daddy's house. Emily tapes up the picture she drew of her grandma and two puppies, Emmett and Charlie. David straightens out the picture he drew of the day his mommy and daddy brought his new sister home, Veronica. Miss Molly looks at all the pictures. It doesn't matter how many mommies you have or how many daddies you have. It doesn't matter if your family has sisters or brothers or cousins or grandmas or grandpas or uncles or aunts. Each family is special. The most important thing about a family is that all the people in it love each other. That's right, isn't it? Soon Heather's first day of school is over. When Mama Kate and Mama Jane arrive to pick her up, Heather shows them all the pictures. Is that me? Mama Kate asks. Is that me? Mama Jane asks. This is the mommy I love the best. And this is the mommy I love the best. She loves them both. Mama Kate and Mama Jane both laugh as Heather gives each of them 2 kisses. Then they take their hands and they all head home. Yay. Yay. Thank you. Whoa, I got up. Maggie?
This congregation expresses our greatest joys and deepest sorrows in community. We believe that a joy shared is magnified and a sorrow shared is diminished. We pause, listening to what arises from within our hearts. Your joys and sorrows will not be streamed online, nor will it be part of the recording, which is made public. Due to COVID, we will not be passing the microphone. Please speak loudly when you share your joys and concerns. If you cannot hear a speaker, please raise your hand and I will paraphrase in the microphone. We have some. Sean? We celebrate these joys and we lift up our sorrows, even those too tender to mention. Thank you.
If you are able and willing, hymn 147. And now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Karen Livengood.
A little better? There we go. I think I'm too far away from the mic. Okay. If you looked at the upcoming, it said I would be speaking about justice and equality with respect to three different groups: gay and transgender, brown and black, people of brown and black color, and also women. Now that's a big, big order to fill, and there's no way I could do that in a short time today. So we already have had talks about racism in this community. I think those of you that have been around for a while know that we've had some very interesting programs. We had a Beloved Conversations program a few years ago that dealt with racism. I think one of our members of this church, Duncan Brown, gave a most interesting and gripping story about his father, who was a Unitarian minister and was in the South in the 60s working for civil rights. I think we should loop that service around every once in a while because it was such a fantastic service. And also we remember our beloved Clarence Eugenie, who passed away a little over a year ago. And he told the story. He was a Unitarian because when he was stationed in Texas as a young man, he was in the service, it was the Unitarians that got him registered to vote. And though he had been raised in a Baptist church, he became a Unitarian that day. And I think our history is just full of all kinds of of stories with how the Unitarian Church worked in the civil rights of the 60s and continues, and we still need to continue. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that, and I'm not going to start in with the whole women thing because, again, we could go on and on forever. So I'm going to concentrate on something that sort of deals with the story, actually very much deals with the story that Barbara read this morning about the two mommies. And that is the Marriage Equality Act. How we got there, where do we still need to go with the Marriage Equality Act? I mean, it seems so simple when she reads that story, so how lovely the story, I'm sorry, I'm leaning back. How lovely that story is, and seems, how could it be a problem? Why would there ever be a problem? I know my two granddaughters in their school in Louisville, they had classmates that had two mommies. They didn't think anything about it. It was just natural. So where did we get in trouble with this? Why is this such a problem? Well, maybe it's the Bible. Maybe the Bible, which has been used selectively and with selective texts to condemn homosexuality, sexual orientation. It's just, in fact, let me go back and look at some of the Bible verses. For example, in the Old Testament, Exodus 35, verse 2. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day thou shalt be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doth work therein shall be put to death. Exodus 21:17, and he that curseth his father or his mother shall be surely be put to death. Seems a little harsh. I think, you would talk, a lot of people who quote the Bible that to them says that homosexuality is wrong, seriously wrong, even to, in cases, be put to death. Most of them aren't going to quote these two passages, are they? They're selective in what they want to come from the Bible with. Leviticus, for example, chapter 18-22, or 22, verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. And in chapter 20, verse 13, if a man also lieth with a woman, both of them have committed, also lieth with a man, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. But then there are other verses of Leviticus. If you look at chapter 18 and look at the whole thing in historical context, they deal with women during her uncleanliness. Men should, going back to the Old Testament, there you come across men should not be bald. So therefore, in some of the Jewish religions, you see the men wearing the yarmulke, and some in the Orthodox always wear the yarmulke, and then there are others that will only wear it for special occasions. The wedding that I went to a month ago, my friend Bill was getting married the second time. His first wife, who was a very good friend of mine, passed away 4 years ago. I never saw Bill wear a yarmulke, but he wore it a month ago, and it was a lovely ceremony, and it was dealing with some of the ritual. That's fine. I think that's good to recall that. But sometimes these things in the Bible don't seem to make a lot of sense, and sometimes they can be very cruel. For example, women should not show hair in public, should be covered, and they talk about that. And yet, I remember reading a number of years ago about women, in order to get around this, they would wear wigs in public. And that seems like a lot of trouble, a lot of cost and a lot of trouble to say, okay, I can't show my real hair in public, so I'm going to wear a wig. I thought, well, maybe it could be a Dolly Parton wig, which certainly wouldn't be something that you would think for modesty reasons. But anyway, so there's a lot of things that we can read in the Bible. There's something about do not eat the beast that dies on its own. Well, that makes sense to those people if you put it in historical context. The beast that died on its own probably is something that is not safe to eat. So we want to only eat the beast that you have slaughtered yourself. There's stories about circumcision, and that's still something that is debated today, but it was in the Bible. If you go to Genesis 17, it talks about circumcision on the 8th day. If a man is not, then he should be cut off from his people. There's a Deuteronomy chapter, verse dealing with stubborn and rebellious son, that men should take him into the center of the city and stone him until he dies. A little harsh. I mean, again, there are other ways to deal with rebelliousness and stubbornness. Tell me, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter that has a PhD degree in stubbornness. Look at the New Testament, Colossians chapter 3, verse 18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands, as it is fit in the Lord. Okay. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 34 and 35. Let your women keep silent in the church, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And verse 35, and if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in church. Now, you find some contradiction. My daughter-in-law is always often been my source for these verses from the Bible. She was raised in the South, in a Baptist church. She knows the Bible as well as anybody that I know. And she says, but tell people then to read the book of Esther. Whoops. As long as he didn't fall out of the balcony, we're okay. She said, but read the book of Esther. It's a much better book to read in the Bible and about women and how Esther confronted those men. If you read Genesis 19, it's about Sodom and Gomorrah. Judges 19, sexual violence. You have a lot of things that we don't really want to accept from the Bible. Do we accept the story of creation from the Bible? I don't think so. But in the context of a lot of these things, some of them were done for reasons to be, safe at the time, to have some order, to have some law, and we had the 10 Commandments. One of the actually references that I found also in the Bible, on the web, is called hrc.org. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. hrc.org. It refers to Human Rights Campaign. And it talks about religion and how particularly it affects this idea of marriage equality. And also the interpretation of the Bible. We can read what the Bible says. And I'm looking at the King James Version because that's the one I grew up with reading. Plus, this is the one at the farm that's large print and very easy to read. Also, well, it was interesting. When I opened this, we have several Bibles, and my late husband, always collected a lot of things, including Bibles. And this one I came up with. And it was interesting when I knew I was going to be talking today. I opened up, and in was this little news clipping. It's dated August 20th, 2008. and it was a letter written to the Post-Tribune at that time. I'll have to ask Sandy. It's somebody from Dyer. Maybe it's someone you know. It's not her. And it says, one can't be selective in quoting from the Bible. And he did that. You know, it's always interesting because as I go through things at the farm, I will find things that Jay had saved, and they're usually very interesting and very pertinent even today. But the human rights, and I'm quoting a lot that they have on their website. At the heart of the claim that the Bible is clear that sexuality is forbidden by God. That's what some people believe, that the Bible is God's very written word, inspired through human authors. But again, we know about God's creation. Not sure that we want to follow the Bible on that. It also is a way to show how we should live. But we need to look at the Bible in historical context. But as we know, more science, most Christians do reject the story of the creation of the universe. And there are other things that they should reject in because of historical context. The study of biblical interpretation is called, and I'm not sure it's a big long word, which I wrote out. I don't know if I wrote it out on my references here, but it's about Hermanhudites, something like that. Take a text, ask not just what it said, but what does it mean? What does the Bible say about homosexuality or attraction to someone of the same sex? Genesis talks about God creating human beings of male and female sex. Nothing in the scripture that God only created this binary. They didn't have the context. Again, looking at the historical context. One of the other things that I mentioned on this little my references, is the National Geographic issue. Sandy, you remember we discussed that a few years ago on gender revolution. The whole issue was devoted to gender. And it's an amazing issue. I used to still have a copy at home. I think my kids purged some stuff, including a lot of my old National Geographics. But if you go back to it, you can, again, find that on the web, and it's fascinating. It defines all the different categories, the LGBTQ, so forth. Diversity, and talks about the diversity in the human gender. So I'm encouraging people to look up these different biblical references and put it all together and say, wait a minute, what do we accept? What do we choose not to accept? There's also this same website, hrc.org, you can get on the web and you can download a material which talks about a lot of the major religious organizations in the country. And you can click on one of those and it will tell you that particular religious attitude, acceptance or non-acceptance with respect to gender equality and LGBTQ equality. I did it for a couple of denominations. I was a little disappointed. I thought that some of these denominations would be more liberal than they were. I know growing up as a Methodist, I was very disappointed with the problems that the Methodist Church had with trying to accept marriage and allow marriages in their church. Very, very disappointed. However, if you go to the Unitarian site, I found it was the most welcoming and the most liberal of all of the ones that I checked. It was most welcoming position to LGBTQ equality, and in particular, they had their ordination of the first female minister was in 1863, and the first openly gay minister for the Unitarian Church was in 1979, and the first transgender minister was in 1988. It says, we not only open our doors to people of all sexual orientation and gender identities, we value diversity of sexuality and gender and see it as a spiritual gift. In 2007, the GA passed a resolution affirming the inclusion of transgender individuals into the principles, with the principles of belief that we have in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. I'm not sure, how are we doing on time? Okay. I want to make sure we have enough time for our ceremony, but I would like to make a comment about something that has been in the news recently. Some of you may have heard about the commotion that occurred at Bennett Academy, the Catholic, private Catholic high school in DuPage County, outside of Chicago, in Lisle, Illinois. What happened was the board needed a coach for their women's lacrosse team. And they offered the job to a woman who had actually graduated from Bennett Academy. And as she's filling out forms, she mentions, I guess, a beneficiary, next of kin, as her wife. And the board went, whoops, we can't give a contract to this woman. She's married to another woman. And what happened? If you've been following the news, you know that there was first a small group of students and parents that got out and started protesting. And then they had petitions, and then it grew, and the news covered it, and it became a pretty big story. And what happened? The board changed their mind. They changed their mind. That's what people can do when you have a cause that is right and just. It can move the powers to be, and that's what we always have to have hope in. That was something that was really wonderful. I'm not going to get in too much, but we did have the Marriage Equality Act, and it was went past June 26, 2015. And it was passed 5-4. The 4 liberal judges voted for it. There were 4 conservative judges that voted against it. The one that took it over to the top to pass it that maybe was not expected was Justice Kennedy. And because it was Kennedy that was that deciding vote to get it over the edge, they narrowed that judgment. They would have liked to have included more than just marriage equality, but they didn't think they would get Kennedy's vote. So they narrowed it. And again, I'm trying to sort of summarize quickly some of this, but there's still work to be done. We're still not there. Marriage equality is one thing, but we still have we have discrimination. We have against the LGBTQ community, and we still have to keep working on that. I know that I've talked to Barbara and I've talked to Roz about the problems once you have a same-sex couple and are married and they have a child by adoption, or they could be one parent birthed the child and the other one didn't, and then you have these issues of having both parents on as made parents of that child. There's a problem, and there's sometimes issues that they run into with that, and the states can vary a little bit on that. So we have more work to be done, and in fact, one of the articles that I came across was by Sasha Eisenberg. So he's another one that wrote, author of The Engagement, America's Quarter-Century Struggle Over Same-Sex Marriage, and talks about how we still have work to do in that area. Okay, I think hopefully I've convinced those people that are going to be members today that they have made the right choice, that we truly are a welcoming community, and we will carry on and do whatever we can. So I'm going to turn this over to Barb now so we can finish up with our ceremony.
Now is the time to introduce our new congregants and have them sign the book. I will call you up and you will stand here. Sean Carter Trotter. Will you see if Lynn's able to come in? If she can't, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Is she outside?
Erica Powers. Boy, this one's going to be hard. Let me get it right. Medea Agapish. Okay. Lynn Grants. Okay, you're going to read, you guys are going to read this left-hand side, and then after you're done, Karen will do a give and take with the congregation, and I'll have you sign the book, okay? Booming voice, let's go.
Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought, which recognizes in all the prophets a harmony, in all scriptures a unity, and through all dispensations a continuity, which abjures all that separates and divides, and always magnifies all that unifies and brings peace, which seeks truth and freedom, justice and love, and individual discipline in social duty, and which shall make of all sects, classes, nations, and races one global community. Unto this church and unto all its members, known and unknown throughout the world, we pledge the allegiance of our hands and hearts.
Okay, one by one. Sean, come on up and sign the book.
While they are signing the book, I would like for you to take out your hymnals and turn to the reading of number 442. And the congregation will join in with me reading that
Next.
as they write. Okay? I will read the bold, and the congregants, will you read the italics? We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirits sinking rest. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart.
Stay up here after we're done, because I'll have you do the offering. Okay.
We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith.
Everything okay?
We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. Thank you.
Okay, you could take your seats. Now is the time in the service for our offering. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. There is an online link on the screen for both one-time and regular donations. You can also contribute in person by putting paper money or loose change in the baskets and the cup. The loose change goes in the cup. The money in the baskets go to the sustaining of the mission of our community, and the money in the cup goes to the Faith and Action Committees for a different charity chosen by the committee each month. This month's charity is... Thank you. I forgot. gifts, we are truly grateful. Now please arise if you are able for our closing hymn, number 318. Our closing words are by Margaret Mead. You may be seated, I'm sorry. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Please join with me with saying the words as we extinguish the chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth.
the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you for attending First Unitarian Church of Hobart. Please join us now for in-person coffee hour out in the garden. And if you're attending online, we invite you to carry on your own virtual coffee hour with others. Thank you.